Hello friends, I hope you are doing well. It has been a long time since I have taken the time to update you. If you are new here and we've never met, I'm Allison and this is Puget Sound Garden Life. My husband and my two sons have lived here on this homestead for about a year and a half now. Today, I want to take some time to update you on our very first full growing season. The 2022 growing season was our first garden that we've grown here on this farm, and it has been a long time since I have recorded a video to update you all and to keep as a memory for our family. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, the last video I put out was in early June, all about my tomatillos, which I will get to you with an update, but not yet. But what I'm going to do in our video today is I'm taking all the footage that I have collected throughout this year and have never made any videos of, and giving you and ourselves a recap of all the progress that we have made this year. So if you haven't seen any of our videos, we started early 2022 with a big silage tarp in our grass side yard, turning that into a garden. So if you want to check that out, I've got some videos that I'll link below that you can see. But where we're going to start today is in our very wet spring in early April, when we were getting our garden beds made and a little too eagerly planting out our first plants for the 2022 growing season. So thanks for hanging out with us today, and I hope you enjoy watching all the work we've done this year. I am standing on the very south part of this new bed space. We've got one of our varieties of raspberries planted. These are coho, and they are everbearing raspberry, which need to be pruned differently than the other ones that I'm going to plant over here. Then I set up my tunnel just to get an idea of its size. Now this row is a little bit more narrow than my other rows, and this tunnel is actually pretty much bigger than this bed. These are great little tunnels. Hopefully I'll be able to keep it down with the wind. If not, we'll just have to improvise and figure out how to do that. But now that I have an idea of how those fit on the beds, I'm going to take them off, and then I'm going to bring my broccoli starts over here and get planting. Hey everybody, I've got 5 different varieties of broccoli and 1 variety of cauliflower, or maybe 2 because I have Romanesco. So I'm going to start, my goal is to plant these 18 inches apart in a diagonal pattern, and I've got a 12-inch ruler. Wish I had 18-inch, but I'll make it work. I'm going to go and poke all my holes first and measure, and then I'm going to kind of poke down into the native soil. So I don't know how long this paper is going to last, but I just want to break through it a little bit so the roots can have a chance to get on through a little bit easier. So I'm going to get to it. What a gorgeous evening. I am so pleased. It was supposed to be a rainy, nasty day, but it kind of turned out to be a gorgeous evening. And I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity to plant some broccoli. Having a great time. But man, I forgot, it's a lot of work here. Well guys, I just finished planting my entire tray of broccoli and cauliflower. That's 72 broccoli and cauliflower plants. I think there was 24 cauliflower and the remainder was broccoli. I'm super pumped. It's a Tuesday night. I didn't think I was gonna get this done until this weekend. It's actually not Tuesday night, it's Wednesday night. But I'm so thankful for this beautiful weather to be out here and to get these planted. It's really a special occasion for me to start growing our first things here. And hopefully the last frost has passed. We've had such crazy weather. These wouldn't be taken out by a light frost, but it's still nice to know that we are past that date and can start looking forward to warm weather. All right, y'all. I did get these planted after dinner last night. My phone just died, so I couldn't get that shot last night. Of course, it just happened to freeze, and we'll see. We'll see how these little babies do. Hoping they will perk up. And down here I did have these low tunnels, but that didn't even fit half of what I had of going. They're pretty happy looking under there. But yeah, wasn't expecting a little bit of a frost this morning. Sorry, babies. But they're planted. Well, I was very excited to plant our first plants in the garden. And I was a little too eager, and that whole entire row of broccoli and cauliflower, 72 plants, yeah, they all died. So that frost that I didn't expect, it didn't kill the plants, but it did damage them and made them a little weaker. And then what happened is over the next few weeks, we had a bunch of, oh shoot, I forgot what they're called. Golly, the little worms, cutworms. We had a bunch of cutworms in the soil, and I'm pretty sure it was in the compost that we got, which, you know, it happens. They were attacking those broccoli stalks right underneath the surface of the soil and just chewed them all off. And the broccoli plants just one by one, they all died. And so I gave up on that row of plants. I say probably about 70% of them died, and maybe the 30% I ended up pulling, and they would have been very weak plants anyways. So that was not a great first start to our growing season. I did not let that discourage me because I had a ton more broccoli available for the garden. Now, I can see if you had went out and purchased those plant starts that you would be pretty disappointed. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really disappointed. But at least monetarily, I knew that I didn't just waste like $20 worth of broccoli starts because I had grown them myself. So that's one of the benefits to growing your own plants is having more available to make sure that if you lose some of your first plantings, that you have some backups to be able to put into the garden so you can still have a successful growing season. So over the month of April, I cooled my jets a little bit. I waited a couple weeks for things to warm up, which it finally did, and the rain finally calmed down a little bit, and I started planting more broccoli and other cold tolerant crops. But I also did get a little bit eager with my zucchini and green beans, which I had started too soon, and they were really needing to be planted out or up potted, which you wouldn't really want to do with green beans or zucchini. So I put those in the garden, and they ended up dying a few weeks later as well. So I planted too early, it didn't work out. Now, once again, I had more backup, so that was okay. By May 21st, all of my warm weather plants were ready to go. This whole front patio, or well, it's not a patio, this whole front porch was turned into our nursery area, and our tomatoes and peppers and squashes were staying warm and doing fabulous. And it was finally time to get them planted out in the garden. By the beginning of June, I had all of our warm weather plants planted in the garden. Everything was in the garden. Everything, all of my starts were planted, and including my flowers, in all my pots. And it was such a relief to have them where their homes were going to be instead of all over my front porch, and to just take a breath, knowing that it was just time for them to grow. Another big lesson that I learned this spring, in addition to being patient, was cottonwood trees suck. So in June, the cottonwood trees started flowering and releasing their seeds in their cute little adorable fluff balls, and it was everywhere. We have a lot of cottonwood trees around here, and I didn't really think too much about all the damage. Well, I wouldn't say damage, but all of the pain in the rear that the cottonwood would cause. It absolutely covered the entire garden, which had a lot of exposed compost, and the plants were all planted, and I didn't have the compost mulched at all. I was just using the compost as the mulch. So as those little cute fluff ball cotton seeds fell on the ground, they were just in the best little seed bed, and I had so many cottonwood seedlings growing in my garden. I still, in the middle of winter, haven't gotten them all removed, and it's going to be a big pain in the butt. So next year, I'm going to use our blower, and as the cottonwood trees start dropping all of those seeds, I'm going to get out there and just be blowing them off my garden as best as I can. June was an exciting month because the garden was planted. We were also transitioning our first batch of meat bird chicks from their brooder in the barn out into their chicken tractor in the pasture. What are you doing in there? This is not for goats. This is for chickens. And y'all are, you goat to be kidding me here. I guess we need to repair that latch before we move in those babies, because they're coming soon. So y'all got to get out of this habit here, ladies. Go hang out with those ladies. Not in here. Not in here, please. You can see the goats were very interested in that chicken tractor, and that was something we didn't expect. So we ended up having to figure out how to fence off the chicken tractor to keep the goats off of it, which was not ideal because we moved the chicken tractor through the pasture, so that just means we're moving that fencing. But it wasn't that troublesome, and eventually we moved the goats into a whole different pasture where they didn't have access to the area where the chicken tractor was running. While I was busy planting the gardens, Bill was busy working on this awesome new chickshaw for our laying flock. So Bill and his dad built this based off some plans from Justin Rhodes' Chickshaw 2.0, which you can get for free off the internet. And it was so nice to be able to move the birds, our laying hens, from the barn to all sorts of different places to get them onto fresh grass, fresh pasture, and out of that barn area. I'm so proud of Bill, and I know he is too, and I'm just very grateful for all the hard work he put into that project. With all the gardens planted and the animals all in fresh pasture, we finally had the chance to go on some family hikes, which we absolutely love to do. We love to get out here in the Pacific Northwest and hike. Bill and I used to do that a lot before we had our kids, and since the kids were little babies, we have been toting them along on these beautiful hikes.
Bridge, and then we cross and come back up to us.
So we could head over to Cheddar Creek, and then we could go through that Cheddar Creek and take a long road.
It's safe to drink. That's the plan. Because this water, it looks really clean, right? And it looks safe. Believe it or not, it's not. There's a really good chance that what's in this water could give you really bad diarrhea. So, you pump.
I don't work during the summer, so that's a great time for me to tackle some really big projects. One of the projects I was really excited about was re-landscaping our cottage garden in our front yard. That's actually just right in front of me where I'm sitting right now. Now, this area was just barked when we moved in with a few big planters sitting on top. So what I did was I removed all of the rocks that were used as a border, and because I wanted to put in fresh compost and had to get a bunch of weeds out. So I removed those rocks. Well, underneath those rocks there was a second layer of a edge border of bricks. So what the previous homeowners done had essentially just kept building up on top of the previous landscaping work to make it look nice. So we removed all the rocks, removed all the bricks, removed off a bunch of bark and composted bark. So there's actually a lot of good soil. And there was a layer of weed fabric all around there. And so I pulled that up, and boy, was that a lot of work. And this area is in full sun in the summer, so it was hot work, and I really only like to do that when it's in the shade. So we got all that removed, and I found our septic tank access. It's right there in the middle of my front garden bed. So that was a bit of a surprise because it's a large circle that is cement, and on top of it was bark, and there was even some like weeds and things growing in that bark, so you would just assume that it was soil. Well, it's not. And now we know where it is in case we ever need to access the septic tank. So now I had to change our design a little bit, knowing that there was going to be this cement circle area in the garden. But I think its location played well into the design because it's kind of in a centered area, so it gives some visual balance to the plants there. Now we added a bunch of compost, and then I already had all the plants ready, but mid-July is not the time to be planting a bunch of plants in full sun. It is way too hot, so I decided to wait until fall, keep my plants up here on the porch so that they could have a little protection from the sun, and it was a lot easier for me to keep them well watered. So the rest of this cottage garden area just sat pretty bare until the fall. We finally cleared out all the landscape fabric, just loaded that into the dumpsters, and now we are bringing in some compost. So we have this awesome new trailer that's really gonna help with delivering compost to... Let me go check on the other side. Okay, come back a little bit if you want, but the angle's good. So we got a new dump trailer and are so excited. Bill's used it before to deliver yard waste to the transfer station, but this is our first like on-farm use. Here we go. Bring me the compost. I go back to work each year in mid-August. So August is a time for us to start wrapping things up for the summer, especially before the garden gets full of vegetables with lots of things to harvest. So at the beginning of August, we went on our last adventure for the summer and took our boys backpack camping on the Washington coast. It was absolutely beautiful and super rejuvenating to spend some time outside with our boys and making some special memories. All right, buddy, let's keep hiking. Come on, Kellen. That's the end of my update for today. That's all the things we did well, that's not all the things. Those are the things that got recorded on camera over the spring and early summer here on our homestead. We've got a lot more footage to show you, and hopefully I'll have some time to get that put together soon and show you the projects we worked on during the end of the summer and through the fall, and we will get you caught up to what our family's been up to and what we have planned for the 2023 growing season. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here and want to see what we're up to, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Have a great day.